Good morning, everyone out in the world of Shochu'sday land, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday where you are. Here in Japan, I'm in Kagoshima. It is Wednesday morning, and joining me this week, I'm not hanging out by myself in town, going around showing you the shopping. Joining me this week, it is Mac from Kanpai Planet. Hi, Mac.
Hi, Maya. What an honor to be here with you. And I think
Thank
I
you.
just want to say, for those who didn't catch last week's episode, it was absolutely fantastic. Always great to share the Kagoshima love, which is what I talked about the last time I guested on
Yes.
Shochu'sday. So I thought that was a nice little connection there. And you're doing
You're
a great
you're
job in Stephen
you're
and
the
Chris.
you're the first guest on my series of guest hosting.
Wow, it's
I don't really know what
fantastic.
I'm doing.
And
I don't really know what I'm
if this doesn't go well, we may both be the last. So let's we're putting
Not
on
my
a
fault.
show.
I was telling Mac, there's some setting when Christopher and Steven do that. There's some setting where we're less rectangular and we're more square on the screen. I don't know how to make that work. I apologize to all of you that this seems a bit weird. I know this is not how they do it, but I don't know how to do what they. I don't know.
It's good though. You get a wider angle shot.
Yes.
In my case, you get to see some of the drinks
Yes.
behind
You
me, and
you
in
get
my
my
case, you get to
curtain.
see the curtain. Although knowing you, there's probably some fantastic story behind everything that people can see in the shot. Like the curtain probably is
Well,
some
you can
traditional
see
Japanese
my.
craftsman or something.
This is my. I haven't changed it yet. This has been out for a season or so. This is Saigo
Yeah.
walking across the street, and this tram is made from a sweet potato. And if you scroll all the way up, then there's a lotus root Ferris wheel from Amu, and then the Sakurajima is an onigiri. Let's see if I can show onigiri up there.
Oh, cute.
There it is. There's the
Nice.
onigiri. So I change it every now and then. I just haven't changed it in a while because I'm lazy. But
Fantastic.
so
Very
it's always
seasonal.
a Kagoshima themed tenigui here for my studio.
Awesome.
It is. Justin just joined us on Facebook. Last week I missed the Facebook comments somehow. I wasn't switching back in the comments properly, and I missed some questions on Facebook, and I will get to those eventually or something. There we go. Kagoshima AF. Indeed,
Yeah.
Justin.
Represent.
Kagoshima AF. Yes. So where did I leave that bammer? Oh, happy Chochu'sday. Are you sipping anything this morning, Mac?
Yeah, I am. I'm sipping what I sipped actually when I was first a guest on Shochu'sday last year, which is the guys had been banging on about Awamori coffee, right?
Oh yes, okay, I remember that.
I remember that. That was a thing.
That was a
Like
thing. That was a thing.
friends, that was a thing. So I had decided to sort of use a bit of Amami Oshima Benisangyo.
Berisango. Ooh.
Yeah, Benisango. Sorry, apologies. And throw that in my coffee instead, in a shochu cup that I got as part of being the largest backer of the Kickstarter for Pellegrini's shochu handbook. So it's all connected. So even though he can't bother to be here today, I think that's what it is. He is represented in the form of this ceramic.
Excellent. Kanpai to Benisango coffee. I am not as prepared as you. I have some delicious Aquarius, the multivitamin. I was going to put it in a cup, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm pretty sure I went to sleep at 6:30. So I am under slept, and I did not have time to prepare a cup.
Is there a story there that the viewers need to know about, or is it just standard work and Kagoshima life?
There's just work went late yesterday, so I didn't get home until 5:30, and then I think by the time I went to sleep it was 6:30. So
how are you finding numbers now at the bar in terms of customers? And actually, I'm also interested in terms of spending. How is there a way you'd categorize how people are spending money? At the moment versus say over the last few years. Assume there's been a lot of kind of up down.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, I've been working at a shochu bar called Roku in downtown Kagoshima, and since I've been at the bar, I used to work at the sister bar Shochu'sday, but since I've been at Roku, it's been the COVID times the whole time. I've been there a full 2 years now in September. So I don't really know what the numbers were like before, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
But we have been getting busier, certainly. Lots more tourists. Most of the customers are like people coming in from Tokyo or Osaka or somewhere from other on travel, like Shochu'sday on business trips, or for holiday. And people on business trips, most of our types of customers are the type that can usually cut an expense, or they can get a receipt and send it, expense it. So I'm happy to give them the expensive drinks, and they're happy to, have some extra food and things like that. And then, travelers, I think really when you're traveling, like money is just like monopoly money. When you're traveling, you're less cautious about, maybe you wouldn't pay the same amount for something you would at home. You're happy to pay more because you're traveling.
Yeah.
So I think we do have that. Yeah. So I think I have a little bit of leeway with the crowds, the types of customers we get. So
I've seen that. Whenever anybody talks about expense accounts in bars, I always remember an experience I had 4 years ago. So I was with a friend and we were wandering around Meguro, which is a part of the city, and we'd had a few beers at some of the craft beer bars, and we felt like some spirits. So we ended up in a spirits bar, a whiskey bar, and we were on his expense account. So
the best type to be someone else's expense account.
Without a doubt. You don't even have to worry about how much is being spent or putting those receipts through your accounting department. So we ordered a few nice drams. From memory, it was he ordered Hibiki 21 and I ordered Yamazaki 18. And then a bunch of guys who had clearly traveled from the other side of the country and just arrived in Tokyo. So they wheeled in their little business roller cases and kind of, sat down in the seating area to our right. And, we were obviously there's new people come into a bar. There's always that look up, try to figure out who your new friends are. And they also ordered some Yamazaki 18. And I was like, look, mate, they're drinking the same stuff as me, except they were doing it with a little twist. And the barman then opened a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola and filled the glass of Yamazaki 18 with Coke. Now, anybody who's watched my content on Kanpai Planet knows, I really hope this comes across, I'm not takabisha or snobbish in any way. My mission is to demystify, democratize, and help you discover the world of Japan's drinks. So do what the hell you want. Mm-hmm. But I also am a human being with thoughts and feelings. And as I saw that Coca-Cola go in, not just to any dram, but specifically to a dram of Yamazaki 18, where my sense is that maybe you're not appreciating the nuances of that versus in a Coke whiskey and Coke versus perhaps even a Yamazaki 12. I thought I did feel a little pang of pain. But anyway, we went over and campaigned with them and ended up going on long into the night with our new friends. So it was fantastic.
On behalf of the citizens of the world who enjoy Coca-Cola, is probably one of my most favorite beverages in the world. I would also not put any Yamazaki's 18 into it. Yeah. I would prefer those things separate.
Yeah, right. You don't want to spoil the taste of the Coke, right?
Yeah.
But you must really love the fact that we live in a land of all these limited edition Coca-Colas and Pepsi. We've got Pepsi Lychee at the moment.
I did see your post about Pepsi. I also had tried the Pepsi Lychee before I saw your post about it. I don't love the salty lychee, so I'm glad that the salt flavor was introduced. It was just mostly lychee.
Yeah, it was, versus 2 years ago where they really, went all out on the salt plus lychee.
Yes.
So yeah, I thought I'd just bring that up to show that we actually do drink non-alcoholic drinks sometimes. The last time I was in Kagoshima, Maya posted a picture of me and her, and also me and Chris Pellegrini drinking, I think, coffees or anyway,
we were
whatever
drinking coffees.
It was, non-alcoholic drinks, and trying to prove the point. And when I originally started Kanpai Planet, the goal was, it really was Japan's drink. So I've kind of got boxed into this kind of very technical, primarily whiskey, but also sometimes shochu and other things review platform. But the intention was always to, put and spotlight basically any liquid. So I'm actually glad you're drinking an Aquarius.
The fun kind, the yellow lemon citrus vitamin kind, because it's
right.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. But yeah, this is a land of just whatever liquid you want. You can go very, very deep into it. I've been studying a bit. I'm thinking of making a video about the history of Pocari Sweat. And that is just literally
the name behind it. The name behind it. You got
fascinating. The name. And I really got into it because I was ill, not COVID, recently. And I was encouraged by every Japanese friend I have to drink lots of Pocari Sweat. And it's not something I had really got into, but I decided to actually take their advice. And then I thought, this is interesting. Let's do a bit of Googling. And anyway, I won't spoil anything for potentially upcoming video, but it is fascinating. So even, basically everything, if you want to go deep into green tea, if you want to go deep into our soft drinks, the limited edition, American brands that we have here, and then let alone all of the delightful alcoholic drinks. That's
Justin.
Cool.
Justin is looking forward to the history of Pocari.
Okay, I'm now obligated. You've put the on of onegaishimasu on me, and now
You said it. You said it. You
I did. I'm bad.
You teased us. You teased us, Mac. And
I know.
Now you must deliver.
The problem is the pipeline is insanely long, right? There's a huge number of ideas, both that I generate or that viewers, request and ask for. And, they go into this thing. The current pipeline is basically a video every 2 weeks. And stuff. And then obviously the producers of drinks are bringing out new stuff that in some cases, I want to be timely on. In other cases, I maybe care a little bit less about needing to be first or so. So, for example, Nikka recently re-released the Yoichi 10. So, for those that don't know, Nikka is the second largest whiskey producer in Japan after Suntory. And for the last 7 years, they haven't had any single malt age statements on the shelves. And for the last couple of years, they haven't even had any age statement after the Nikka 12, which was their blended whiskey, disappeared. So the return of this, I thought,
very exciting.
Very exciting. Even its limited form of 9,000 bottles a year domestically, and probably about that for international release, I would expect, but they haven't said anything. Anyway, was super exciting. So that was it. It was a drop everything, including social commitments, and work hard to produce 2 videos. One was a kind of informational video because there was so much to say. I decided to kind of split the video up into 2. So there was part 1, and then part 2 was kind of the tasting. And even trying to secure supplies of this was really difficult because it was released only in Hokkaido. In fact, November is when it's going to have a nationwide release, but it was released only in Hokkaido. And I really did consider flying up to Hokkaido to get this done. And I started speaking to some of the bars that I know up there. And then one of them, Bar Botta, fantastic bar in Otaru, which is a really great,
cute little town.
Yeah, have you been there?
Yeah, I've been to Otaru during their snow festival or their ice festival or whatever.
Right. It's kind of I like it in a different way. I put it kind of on a par with the Sapporo Yuki Matsuri, right? The Sapporo Ice Snow Festival. Yeah. It's smaller, obviously, but you get the much more intimacy with the townspeople, and it's kind of
like along the canal, like little igloos with little lights inside or something like that. It was quite cute. Yeah,
it is, and the historic center of the town is kind of reasonably well preserved. And it got a big cut, during the Meiji and kind of the Taisho period. So you've got these lovely little kind of old school kura warehouses and older buildings. So so Bar Botta, he said, "Well, Mac, don't be stupid. I know you make zero money from doing this. So the last thing I want you to do is have to fly up when I can just post you a sample." But for such an important whiskey, I didn't just want to review
The liquid
30
inside.
50 mil of it, you know. So one thing that I found out was Nika, see, they never say these things in the press releases, right? But what they had done is they had sent bottles around to bars which are run by what they call their Taketsuru senior ambassadors.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so they have these guys who are meant to promote Nika kind of around the country. I'm not sure how, knowing some of them quite well and hearing what they tell me in private. In fact, I'll
Off the
just end
record.
that sentence there. Anyway, but only some of them got it. So this was also not every bar that was a Nika
Drama.
drama. So then there's phone calls hunting them down. I found a couple of bars in like the greater Tokyo area that had a bottle. So, you know, I went and spent time with the dram. I highlighted one of them, Bar Tsurukame, which is in Ningyocho on the east side of Tokyo, in order to, you know, be able to push back on anybody who said, oh, well, you know, you're reviewing a sample instead of, you know, having drunk half a bottle. So
you did drink a proper half a bottle.
Over, I don't know about half a bottle, but I definitely had what I consider a reasonable amount to review it, you know, over several sessions of drinking. So
excellent.
The
as Armando says, the first English review of Nikatan.
Of the Yoichi Tan.
Armando.
Yeah, Armando, who was a guest. That's actually a great episode to watch on replay on the Japan Distilled YouTube channel. Yeah, Armando's thoughts about the state of Japan's whiskey and Japanese spirits in general are really fascinating and a huge amount of insight. So y'all should watch that after you hang up here.
So that's I didn't know that about the Taketsuru ambassadors. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's funny because, and I discuss this a lot with some of the other kind of whatever we are. I don't know. Are we just sort of drinks content creators or something, right? Or whatever you want to use. Sometimes the word influence is used. I don't know what influence I exert, but anyway, the concept of brand ambassadors in Japan. Well, first of all, it doesn't really exist in the way that, for example, you know, within Scotch whiskey, you know, each distillery, each brand will have a network of international brand ambassadors. You know, one of the most famous brand ambassadors, I guess, in Japan is Yumi Yoshikawa, who's the brand ambassador for the Chichibu distillery for, you know, Ichiro's malt. Who she's absolutely incredible person and does a absolutely fantastic job. But the liquid from the Chichibu distillery sells itself. I mean, it's actually, you know, people talk about buying it, you know, outside of their more regular releases, such as the Ichiro's Malted Grain, which I reviewed recently on Kanpai Planet. It's not that it's tough to buy. It's sort of just the concept of buying it is just non-existent. I was caught out recently because I made some comment about, oh, they all sell out in 2 minutes. And then everybody in the bar who was kind of also within the drinks industry said, no, they're not even on sale kind of to sell out. So anyway,
they're so limited.
Yeah, it's so limited and there's a lot of back channeling. So in terms of brand ambassadorship, you know, what is it that people are doing to promote a product that, you know, immediately sells out and kind of sells itself is kind of interesting. So it's something I would love to see. I think brand ambassadors do a fantastic job. There are brand ambassadors who work in Japan for overseas brands.
Yes.
One of the guys who I think is absolutely incredible, for example, is Jack Chambers, who is a brand ambassador for Westland American Single Malt and Bruichladdich as well on the Scotch side. And I mean, the level of knowledge these guys provide, and when you are hanging out with them, maybe in a tasting or even a festival, the transparency that some of them are able to give you about the products is incredible.
Can you be a brand ambassador for more than one brand at the same time? Is that not like some kind of
conflict of interest?
Yeah.
I think where there may be in 2 different markets, then I think you can. Or I guess there are guys who, for example, are brand ambassadors for say MHD, right? So they're going to be promoting Ardbeg, and then they're going to be promoting maybe some Hennessy, right? So you're not in maybe direct competition. But yes,
Okay.
I guess you can't. It would be difficult to promote both. Competing. You couldn't be a brand ambassador for, say, Glenlivet and Bruichladdich. That would be
Or in my sphere of influence, it would be Kanosuke and Tsunuki at the same time.
Yeah,
the two Kagoshima whiskey makers.
Which you sort of are, because I think what Japan has generated, and I guess I'd put people like Armando, Christopher, Stephen, you, me, there's a network of unofficial brand ambassadors,
Yeah.
right? So we're doing all the brand ambassador work.
It's in Japanese, they would say we're katteni ambassador.
Yeah, so unpaid, sometimes unloved, but we're promoting their products for them. Maybe that's what they see. Maybe they go, well, we don't need any brand ambassadors because people like Maya are promoting Kagoshima shochu, Kagoshima whiskey, Kagoshima gin, and Kagoshima in general much better than we could ever hire somebody to do. But yeah, it's
maybe that'll change soon as they get more budgets, as their productions get bigger and things like that. Maybe they will start looking for things like brand ambassadorships.
I guess so. I mean, Kanosuke is an interesting one. Obviously, they've had that investment, for example, from Diageo via Distill Ventures. So that's money that's gone into a company. Now, it doesn't take a genius to realize that, one of the largest drinks companies on earth has invested in a smaller one in order for it to grow. They didn't invest in it for it to stay the same size. That is not the capitalist way. So I am, I'm sure that we're going to be getting some big announcements out of Kanosuke soon, telling us about some potential expansion plans. And then, it's going to be interesting with that increased volume of liquid. Of course, it's not produced immediately. So 3 years time minimum.
I can tell you that they did finish construction of expansion of their production facilities last month.
Yeah. Okay.
They already did.
Yeah.
They already got more tanks.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say.
But that was in
that's
they
public.
Were,
yeah. Like if you visit and do the tour, then you can see that they have more things there than they did.
They did. The head of the facility did post a picture on Instagram of the new things coming in on a truck. Like, we're closed because we have the new things. So that's public knowledge.
Yeah,
I think that we are safe.
They are expanding, and I suspect there'll be more expansion-related announcements soon. Now, that means there's going to be more liquid, certainly in 3 years' time and longer. And so it'll be interesting to see how they go, in terms of positioning that, not necessarily in Japan, but maybe in overseas markets. It's going to be
it's probably more important for the overseas market. I feel like in Japan, without saying specific numbers, they have an online lottery for their distillery exclusives, the 200 milliliter bottles.
Yeah.
That go out once a month for the lottery entry. And I'm pretty sure the number of entries was more than 20 times the number of bottles that were available.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really need to work on promoting themselves domestically any more than.
A friend of mine recently won one of those distillery exclusive bottles in the lottery, and I'm going to tell her that she was extremely lucky to.
More than 1 in 20.
Incredible. So if you put that into context, that's for Kanosuke. When Suntory are doing a lottery for like Hibiki Blossom Harmony 2022 or Yamazaki Limited Edition 2022, I think you can add an extra couple of zeros to the multiple of entries, the ratio of the entries to the number of bottles available. It's quite outstanding. But so it pretty much sells itself in Japan. And it's interesting, through, I think, you've been a big promoter of them. I've reviewed a large number of their releases as well on Kanpai Planet. It's funny because people contact me saying that they've been buying bottles of Kanosuke in auction, and
that's terrifying.
It's terrifying because you do feel a weight of responsibility in terms of your recommendations. You know, when people are going up well above. I mean, I love what the liquid that they produce. I think everything so far that I've tried has been of very high quality, but it is priced near that upper end of what I'm prepared to pay for, you know, certainly a bottling of that age, you know, 3 year. And just in general, I mean, you know, because the opportunity cost for me isn't just, even though my channel is focused on Japan's drinks, I'm not thinking, oh, my alternative to buying a Kanosuke is that they're 5,000 yen cheaper per bottle than Akeshi up in Hokkaido, right? I'm thinking for this price, I can get like a Glenfarclas 25 off, you know, Amazon.co.jp. That, you know, because I just want to enjoy what the world has to offer in terms of its great drinks, or I can enjoy, I don't know, a 300-year-old rum, probably, you know, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Or about 100 bottles of lychee Pepsi.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm thinking all the time. I can drink 100 bottles of lychee Pepsi. You know, there's a weight of responsibility when people are paying above those RRPs for bottles. Obviously, they're adults. I hope they are. You know, it's their choice how they deploy their 500 quid. And I think the liquids are good. I think for a lot of people, if they're buying it and they understand, you know, what they're paying above a price, and they understand what they're getting, it's going to be a combination of the fact that they really want to try something from Japan. You know, they value that Japan brand, you know, above what they may be able to get elsewhere, right? And I understand that. It's exactly why people would buy, you know, Gucci polo shirt when a fully functional Uniqlo one does the same job, right?
Just, it doesn't have the cute logo on it. You know, you need the brand.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly. Which, you know, you can like draw on yourself. This isn't. I pointed at this. This is not very high quality print work. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really interested actually in terms of Kanosuke to see what that international, you know, potential growth and building that brand internationally is going to look like. Any insights you can give us? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Not. I have insights, not that many that I can share. I am under many non-disclosure agreements with many people.
It's going to be interesting. I think their branding actually lends itself quite well to the international exposure, even just the font, right?
Yeah, they were, I think, thinking with that in mind from the beginning of the design. So they don't have to create a new design to be for the international market. You know, they can just go with the bottle they have.
Right.
So.
And it's kind of been, you know, their releases are kind of very clear to understand, you know, right? You know, this is this is that, this is that. You know, I think there are some distilleries in Japan who I'm under no non-disclosure agreements to name, but I won't name because I've lived here for 16 years and we, on the whole, don't like embarrassing people here. But there are some brands who I think their naming conventions make sense to them, but I feel that if they had just run them past me, then perhaps I could have given them some pointers in how to, you know, clarify to the audience, to the consumer, you know, exactly.
I could maybe think of a couple that you were possibly referring to off the top of my head.
There are two that come in mind. And then there's one, which I also very much love, which I just find their design inconsistency to be quite amusing, actually. And I'm going to name them. There's nothing wrong here because it's all in good jest and fun. But Mars Whiskey, who own the Komagatake and Sanuki brands, if you put, like, they'll have a series, a multi-year series.
The butterflies or the cats or something.
All that has changed, or for example, Yakushima Aging that they had, or the Komagatake, you know, the 2018, 19, 20, 21, 20, and now soon to be 2022 releases. And you're like, all that needed to change here, you could literally have taken the same, Adobe Illustrator template and just changed the year. But they decided to just move something down a line, or the color here, again, there was no need for it, but the color here has just dropped a shade, but then gone up to the same shade as it was 2 years before in the next bottle. And you're just thinking, wow, some really strange design decisions going on here.
Printing decisions or
yeah, exactly. Design, printing, whatever, all the steps that are going into the label. And it always amazes me as somebody who tries on the whole to take the path of least life is complicated enough. I'm busy complicating it without needing to, where it's possible to take the path of least resistance. I find that quite amusing. So yeah, I think sometimes, Suntory, for all their faults, I think their design is absolutely fantastic, and really great.
There's a lot of money going into it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some focus groups probably involved.
Oh, huge amount. I mean, they're the third largest distiller on earth. But I'll put that question back on you, actually, Maya. What are your thoughts? I mean, shochu, people want to be pushing that overseas more and more. I think the same thing maybe applies to Nihonshu as well. Part of it is the use of kanji on the label. Obviously, is not intuitive to people who don't speak Japanese. What do you think about, for example, shochu design in general, and then more specifically, what might need to change to make things appeal more outside Japan?
There's a trend now in a lot of the shochu bottles I see that makes them, people are like, oh, this looks like a wine, the label art.
Okay.
And I don't know specifically what it is that makes them think it looks like a wine, because most of the people aren't that familiar with wine, to be honest. But they're like, oh, it looks oshare, or it looks elegant or something, therefore it must look like a wine. But it's more artistic, and there's less, like a calligraphy, 2 characters of kanji on the front on a black and white label.
Right.
I think is what they're trying to say. But then there's also a recent trend that like English is cool, or something that looks like English is cool because it's not always in English, or an approximation of English.
Yeah.
Or some alphabet characters looks cool, and then that's for the domestic market. And where I look at it, I'm like, this is gibberish. And then they're like, oh, it's fine. It doesn't matter that it's gibberish. No one's going to read it anyway. I was like, but I'm reading it, and I'm telling you, it's gibberish.
Yeah.
But so they're also like very in-house. It's just like hand written. It just looks like it was handwritten, and then they put the legalese,
right.
And so that will not be obviously won't translate for the overseas market very well. So they would have to have a new design, but then who has the insight of what would sell in the foreign market in terms of design work?
Yeah.
That they are aware of in their local connection of designers and print houses and things like that. So I think that's their biggest hurdle if they want to go abroad, is even realizing there's a need to change the label. Like,
number one, and then how to change, right? Which I think is where people like Christopher and Stephen are going to come in very, of course they have their own setup, so I'm not sure how that would work, but they're the people who have the insights, right, into what appeals on a shelf in New York. What can make sure people are not confused. This is not wine. This is not Nihonshu, sake. This is its own thing. It's not pretending to be a whiskey either, which I think has been damaging as well, right?
Or a soju.
Yeah, it's not pretending to be a soju. It's not pretending to be a Japanese whiskey. It's its own category, and this is, the general parameters that can help people understand what it is. I
think it's an education issue in many ways, I think.
Yeah.
On both ends.
On both ends.
And
Yeah, absolutely. But it's happening. Who would have ever thought it?
Yeah. Justin suggested AI generated decorated English. The the AI artwork. I saw some on Facebook from someone else pop up the other day, and it's really interesting, Justin. So maybe next week I'll pick your brain about that a little bit more, Justin, if you're free. Just throwing that out there.
There was the guy who won the Colorado State art competition, right, with the Midjourney.
Yeah, and everyone's like, it's not real.
Art. It's going to be, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot, I think, philosophically behind, right? Like at some point, people must have gone, oh, this guy's drawing on a Wacom tablet, right, versus using a piece of paper. Oh my God, you know, and he can erase stuff much more easily. You know, surely that's cheating. I think these things are quite sort of philosophical debates. As a tour guide, I've had to wrestle with this a little bit as well. You know, when I first started Matchroom Planet, so a lot of people, and there's a lot of people out there, for those of you who are thinking about starting your own business, who have advice for you. And one of the pieces of advice was, you know, Mac, people don't need a tour guide because, you know, they can just go to Sensoji in Osaka, and then they can Google the Wikipedia article and read it should they wish. And they may have been right, because in 2019, I was only booked for 300 days of the year, and I wasn't booked for the other 65 days of that year. So it's possible.
How dare you have days off? How dare you have days off?
But it might be a sign that, you know, things weren't going as well as they could have been if I'd paid attention to the haters. So anyway, the point is that I think there will always be a value for human beings, you know, because you know, there's always threats to disintermediation of the process. But as human beings, we're programmed to be impressed by what human beings do. And, you know, like in so many situations, if you think about it, you know, the stuff is out there. For bars would be a good analogy, I think, right? Like if you think about what a bar does, you know, it looks like I've got no reason to ever go to a bar, right? If you just look,
you've got one behind you.
If you just look behind me, right? But I don't drink a lot of stuff at home because that's miserable. And, you know, I want to, you know, I will travel. I'd rather travel to the other side of the country to go to Roku, you know, and hang out there than to just drink by myself. You know, there's something beyond just the basic thing that, you know, is the provision, right, of a diverse range of liquids. It's the social aspect, the knowledge, the different environment.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of threats to disintermediation. So to Justin,
I think Armando is taking umbrage with your.
Yeah.
We're not.
In Armando's case, I think due to certain circumstances, he finds it more difficult to go out and about to various bars.
We're not making any judgments on your choices of how to enjoy the selection of beverages you have available to you, Armando.
Absolutely not. But I will say to Armando that I'm sure nothing makes him happier than his trips to Tokyo, where he's able to head to Aloha Whiskey and head out drinking with me and other of his brothers from different mothers. So, you know, everybody can do you, but the general point is that there is value to be added from the human experience. So anyway, Justin is correct. We maybe should go to the AI and get them to do. In fact, that's one for anybody. I might even do this myself once I clear my to-do list. We can go into Midjourney and just say like Shochu label, right? We'll tell you a Shochu label that appeals to foreigners, right? Isn't that the...
now you're setting the bar very high.
Yeah. Well, let's.
What's a foreigner? What's a foreigner in that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. No, that's very good. We've got to help the AI. So Shochu label that will maximize sales amongst people who live outside Japan. Let's see.
I'm looking forward to your results on this.
Yeah, man, I feel like this is a good video topic.
After the Bacardi Sweat one.
Okay. Yeah.
You've increased your workload.
The pipeline
significantly.
just keeps getting longer and longer.
Apparently, Justin says Midjourney doesn't do well with kanji, so he's apparently tried. So.
Oh, okay. But that's it, right?
But that's it with foreigners. Is that what you need? Yeah. Back to our conundrum.
We don't need kanji because, we need whatever, a picture of a whale or
that exists as shochu and nihonshu, as seishu. There are whale ones. Oh.
And something a bit more abstract. So maybe the AI is telling us we get rid of the kanji on the bottles,
or that it doesn't have to. It can be gibberish. Maybe it just has to look cool. Maybe that's what's wonderful. It doesn't have to. They're not going to read it anyway.
We're venturing into the realm of kanji tattoos here. Like it goes both ways, right? The gibberish, the English, or the slightly nonsensical statements that we get sometimes here in Latin alphabet, but also
my favorite T-shirts.
Yeah.
There is a shochu with a huge banana on the label, and it's a very good seller, Armando. It's Komasa Kozuru, the banana. There's also one with grapes on it. They have
grapes
a grape
as well. Yeah, they've got that series, right, of 3.
Muscat grapes.
The muscat, yeah.
So,
and those are
absolutely... Mark volunteers to train our AI.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark. This is a great project. I really feel like if this project's going to happen, the people who are watching right now are exactly the people to go out there and to figure this out. I mean, who else, right? A core of drinks, shochu otaku, who have experience on both sides of the Japan curtain. This is the group. This is it.
So you've all been roped in now.
You've all been roped in. We should make this. We should make this private. This one can't go on YouTube because
we'll have to send out some non-disclosure agreements. Yeah.
Pretty proprietary stuff. Those shochu that Armando just flagged, right? I think are absolutely fantastic. I think you introduced me to them, actually, Maya, and since then I've purchased some bottles for home consumption. So there we go. I'm with you.
Don't have time to go out to the bars and be.
Well, we don't have. That was something that really amazed me. We do have some bars that do have great shochu selections in Tokyo, but I must say where I've really enjoyed drinking shochu has been in mainly Kagoshima, but also around Kyushu, and whether that's some cliches around going where it's made, going where it is the drink of choice, and just the vibe, I mean, because everybody's just so into it in Kagoshima, right? The owners, the bar owners,
especially the places where you were taken. And
yes, absolutely.
And you found yourself.
Oh, yeah, right.
Biased.
Yeah, like it's so much just part of the fabric of the city and the nightlife environment that that's why I do kind of drink a disproportionate amount of shochu at home, in Tokyo, versus, for example, the incredible whiskey bars that we have in the city here, mean that I end up drinking my whiskey mainly outside of the Mac Cave.
The Mac Cave. Well, I think we're almost up on like 40 something minutes already.
Okay.
Our quick chat has gone on.
We've been prompted.
A variety of topics.
Yeah, I blame our audience. Thank you so much, guys. It's been
for the interaction.
Yeah.
Last week I couldn't figure out how to get the comments up in the Facebook. I don't know, but today I've been. Now that I'm actually sitting in front of it and not trying to like walk around and show you shelves of Don Quixote.
Did you show all the cartons?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And sometimes if you go out on like trash day, because we have set days for the burnables and recyclables, cartons are in like the paper trash, and so when on the paper trash recycle day, you'll just see like just bundles of flattened cartons going out in the trash. I'm like, oh, there's some interesting drinking going on somewhere in this neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, anyway.
Fantastic. thank you for having me as your guest, Maya. Been a real
Thank
honor.
you for joining me on kind of short notice and rearranging things. And to everyone out there in Allison's Shochu'sday land, I think I've got one more week before the guys get back to regular Shochu. Oh, I should put up a banner, something. I think there was an episode last week. I mentioned it. Please check out their podcast on Kuma Shochu. I think that's the most recent one, as far as I'm aware. Unless they dropped something. I don't think they dropped a new one more recently. I apologize if I'm lying. And please check out Mac. Where can people find your content?
Sure. So there's two content platforms I have. The one most relevant to everybody watching here is Kanpai Planet, and I'm at Kanpai Planet, one word, on every platform. So pick your platform.
Are you on Are you in TikTok? Are you on TikTok?
There is at Kanpai Planet TikTok as well. So I've been making some of those, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts to re-promote making sake on saddle. So they've gone up on TikTok. They're doing very well on the other platforms, but they don't have enough dancing or use of the latest trend music to do well on TikTok.
Another project to add to the list.
That's one.
TikTok.
I'm sure we can outsource that to this group as well. And then my travel business is Maction Planet, and tourism is slowly restarting in Japan. So I'm getting a lot of customers who are here on business actually contact me, and we're having some fun times at the moment in the greater Tokyo area. So would love to
Mount Fuji with famous people, etc.
Yeah,
etc.
I did indeed get up Mount Fuji with Dexter Holland, the lead singer of The Offspring. That was fun.
Exciting. Cool. Fun life experiences. I just serve drinks to people, which is also fun. But
cool. Well, we'll leave that there, and part 2 of our chat can be famous people you've had in the bar.
I'm pretty sure the conversation will be over very quickly, very, very quickly. So anyway, thank you, Mac, for joining me today. Thank you, everyone out there in Shochu'sday land for hanging out and commenting and adding questions and stuff. And I will see you next week, same time, same channel. What's Christopher's time? Have a safe and healthy, hearty. What is it? Oh, hearty and healthy Kanpai. What is the word? What does he say? Do you know? Do you remember?
Let's go with whatever you want to say. It's your show now.
So I've got the last dregs of my Aquarius. You've got a beautiful cup there with some Betty Sango and coffee in it still. And happy Shochu'sday. And have a lovely evening. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. Goodbye.